Hello, and we are live. Yes. Good evening, everyone. This is Ethel Da Costa, and you are with me on another fabulous episode of Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa in association with the Mac Clinic, Malaysia's premier aesthetic institution. And very soon you will have my guest joining in from India, as well as Dr. Hugh joining us at the 8 o'clock mark, Malaysia time, to, of course, join in the conversation and share what he has to say also about what we're discussing, what he has to also add in terms of, his inputs on beauty and my questions and things like that. So welcome. Welcome to this Sunday's episode of Heart to Heart with Atul Akosha. I have Kalyani Kamble who joins me from Mumbai. But first, let's talk about the week that has just gone by. If you had a really good week, if you kind of managed to kind of do some how do I call it, make an impact in the world that you are in, professionally or personally. I think I had a very eventful week as well. We created some really good, how do I call it, in my workspace. It really matters to me how I manage time, and in that time, what value can I add, to the brands and clients and friends that I work with. So it was really good in that sense. Today I had a nice Japanese lunch at the pavilion with two very new friends, from Cambodia, with the Cambodian embassy attaché, and another very senior, gentleman who was very familiar with Vietnam, Malaysian Chinese, settled, of course, lived all his life in Malaysia, but has always kind of worked, with the travel and tourism industry, with Vietnam being his very focused country. So I had awesome conversation over food. Like we all know, food brings people together, and the 1 hour lunch turned into like a good 4 hour lunch because we couldn't just stop talking about uh, sharing inputs and experiences, from India, all my travels that I've, experienced all across different parts of the world all my life, and learning new things about Cambodia. I was just there, last month, and and the gentleman, from Malaysia, who's a tourist guide, had added his own inputs on Vietnam and stuff like that. So it's very eventful, how we consciously create experiences for ourselves, to enrich our personal spaces and our workspaces. Of course, build great networking relationships, and you never know what those conversations and meetings lead to. So I'm very high on meeting new people, wanting to travel to new places, because travel for me is soul uplifting, and constantly learning about cultures and traditions and customs and behaviors of other people, of different communities, of different nationalities. And that is what makes me very excited about travel having opened up. People traveling all across the world right now. Malaysia borders also have opened up. India borders also have opened up, and it's awesome to kind of understand and learn how travel as an industry has changed. And yes, in all that milieu of travel and people and cultures and everything else in between, my guest, who's a very accomplished, professional in her space, who I met in Mumbai, Kalyani Kamble. She's a founder of VisioNeering Life and a co-founder of Prescient Strategist, is that's what she calls it. She's a TEDx speaker. She's also an author of 31 Days to the Best Version of You. I'm very excited to know more about that, and Kalyani will speak with us on that very soon. Kalyani Kamble is also a master NLP practitioner, a certified coach in emotional intelligence, which I think is so important to understand what it's all about. And today I learned that there are 8 different types of intelligence quotients that you can measure a human being. It was fantastic. I never knew that. Kalyani has a very strong goal, that she's motivated by and driven by. She wants to be an instrument in helping people identify and unleash their potential. So, today, me and Kalyani discuss on my heart seat um, what we truly believe, and I also truly believe, that leadership begins with self-love. And Kalyani also endorses that, and I'm going to bring her up very soon online. In the meantime, please find my page, come live with me. I always love listening to your comments and seeing what you have to share. And let's just get Kalyani and start on heart to heart right away. Hey, Kalyani,
Hi, good evening, Ethel.
good
Good
evening
evening.
and welcome. Welcome to Malaysia.
Yes, I'm so happy.
Yes,
Good evening
and
to everyone and everyone who's watching this.
awesome to kind of connect, Kalyani, after such a long time. Our
Yes,
last meeting was at the Taj Lands End at BNI, correct?
yes.
And then
Joseph.
after that, yeah, that was like so long back. And after that, so many things happened, with COVID and my travel and me landing up here and things that way. So I'm very excited to take this conversation ahead with you, and and learn, like we say, right? Emotional intelligence, begins with, you know, I think enriches leadership, correct? And it is about time that we kind of really give it the how do you call it, the love that it deserves, because I think today the dynamics post the pandemic has really changed, right? Conversations have really changed. Work scenes have changed. Corporate, how you look at corporate life has changed, and everything I think stems from being more kind, more compassionate, and therefore the stress on emotional intelligence, correct?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So great. So you have an exciting book out. I was told that it was on the best list, on Amazon's best list.
Amazon's number one. Yes, seller.
Yeah,
Bestseller.
yeah,
Yeah.
exciting. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us, to people who will watch this, who are watching this, and as you know that the video goes around, on different platforms. Tell us how 31 days to the best version of you came about, and what is the program like, and how does one begin, Kalyani?
Okay, so 31 days to the best version of you is a personal journey.
Hmm.
It's been a personal journey of the last 17 years of experience into the field of psychology, consulting, coaching, training that I've been doing all these years. And
Okay.
it has been a process of self discovery. And all these years, I realized that there are so many tools that one can use and become the best version of themselves. I believe that we are all born to be the best version of ourselves. In
Hmm.
fact, the best version is nothing but the authentic self at health. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
authentic self. I mean, look at how we were born. We were born
Yes.
without any fear. We were born without any inhibitions. We were born without any fears. We
Hmm.
dared to dream. And then
Yes.
suddenly there's these, the external conditioning, parenting, and all different kinds of parenting, the experiences that we have, the movies that we watch, the books that we read, the people that we are surrounded with.
Correct.
Suddenly, it kind of quotes us, and we become somebody maybe the world wants to see more
Right.
than who we can be, who we are
Yes.
capable of being, or whom we can be. So 31
Correct.
days to the best version of you really has been a personal journey. I have been through, ups and downs myself while I was, doing what I am doing, training, coaching, motivating everyone. But I was going through an inner journey myself while
Hmm.
I was doing all of this outside. So
Hmm.
I thought, why not put all of these tools together? And I realized that 31 days is a good enough time to get started.
Yes.
Why? Look, being the best version of yourself, Ethel, is a never ending journey.
Absolutely.
I am here today. I can be the best. I can be the
Right.
best after that. Okay.
Correct.
However,
Yeah.
we live in a world of instant gratification, like you said, COVID, and times have changed. So I thought,
Hmm.
how would I make transformation easier so that okay, it's 31 days. So each
Yes.
chapter gives you a very important tool. It gives you an exercise. It gives you an activity for the day. You do
Hmm.
the activity. You get affirmations for the day. The book is actually like a workbook.
Okay.
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 It's a book
Do
for
you
the
have it with you?
non-reader.
Do you have it with you, Kalyani? If you can show
Oh,
it
well,
to us.
right now, no. I just told you I'm in middle of
Yes,
shifting.
yes, yes.
So
Okay.
yes, you all can go to Amazon and buy the book. It's really an amazing book. You'd love to have it. It's a book where you open any page, you can start reading. There
Okay.
are 31 areas of self development. It's very holistic. It
Hmm.
includes everything from inner transformation to outer transformation. It includes self appreciation, self love, and it also includes about how you can develop a sense of style with the right kind of body language and tone of voice,
All
and
right. Okay.
how you can also wear clothes that flatter your body shape, flatter your personal style, and
Ah,
feel confident and feel good about who you are, what you're wearing, and what you do.
and that's for
Uh,
men and women.
Men and women both, absolutely. Men and
Okay.
women both. I think men need as much self love as women do.
Absolutely, yes. I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And yeah, and you put it together during COVID time, isn't it?
Yes, I put it together in. So it was, it was in the happening. It was in the process for a long time, and
Hmm.
it released during the COVID time. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I think I kind of, as you know, I came to Malaysia, got into lockdown mode, and said, "What do I do, right, with the
Yeah.
lockdown? What do you do best is right." And that's how,
Right. Yeah.
I had a book also happening out during the COVID time too. Yeah. Yeah. I think I understand this 31-day program. So yes, so Kalyani, going from there, we kind of, we were talking backstage ourselves, Radha, about how important it is to recognize emotional intelligence today, right? Especially, I think more relevant today in the workspace as well. But it is rarely celebrated at the workspace, right? What's your take on this, and how can we change this today?
Mhm. Let me quickly explain what is emotional intelligence. Okay,
Yes.
so emotional intelligence includes two very important aspects: self and others. The
Hmm.
founders of the concept being Peter Salovey and John Mayer, and then it's Daniel Goleman who wrote a book on emotional intelligence, and that's how the term became very, very popular world over. So
Okay.
when I teach emotional intelligence, we follow the Daniel Goleman model. So it includes the aspect of self and it includes the aspect of others. It
Hmm.
includes five dimensions to a person's personality. One is self awareness,
Okay.
self regulation, which is now that you are aware. So let's say I'm aware I have anger issues. A lot of people are aware but they don't do anything about it. Then comes
Yes.
self regulation. I am aware that I do get angry. What do I
Hmm.
do? How
Hmm.
do I channelize my anger into a more resourceful emotion, or how do I calm myself down? What's the
Yes.
impact on my relationships? That comes in the self regulation where you realize and you put it into action.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then is self motivation, realizing that there is so much more in this world to do than just our
Yes.
basic needs,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and knowing what motivates you, identifying your purpose and working towards it. And in the part in others includes empathy,
Mm-hmm.
understanding each other, and social skills, which includes your interpersonal skills, teamwork. In fact,
Hmm.
emotional intelligence is literally the mother of all skills. There are 19 competencies under emotional intelligence that the Harvard University, describes. Some of them being conflict management, leadership, being able to manage stress,
Hmm.
teamwork,
Hmm.
collaboration, assertiveness, etc.
Wow.
So I think, organizations, if organizations are employee centric, they should have
Hmm.
emotional intelligence as their core strategies. Because
Right.
what are emotions, Ethel? What are humans? Humans are emotions.
Correct.
What makes us humans? But we
Yes.
are expected to work like robots.
Hmm. Yeah. True. True.
That's a disconnect. I'm a
Yes.
human and I can perform. And if you are expecting certain behavioral outcomes, you should also work on people's emotions. So
Hmm. I agree.
organizations, when they
I
say they are,
agree.
yeah, therefore they're working on rewards, recognition. I think emotional intelligence should be a core strategy of every organization who considers their employees as their assets,
Hmm.
knowing how this person feels, what motivates the person, and
Correct.
channelizing the potential into, of course, building a very profitable and a sustainable organization.
Yes.
So, So we are expected to, give outcomes in terms of goals and targets. But
Correct.
how do your employees need to feel
Hmm.
in order to
Hmm.
deliver that target? How do our employees need to feel in order to deliver that project on time, to get that deal, to get
Yes.
those? How do they need to feel? The moment
Hmm.
you focus on the feeling is the fuel, Ethel. The
Right.
behavior comes automatically, and the
Right.
behavior
Yes.
comes at an optimal level. Otherwise,
Hmm.
people just do because they have to. But
Correct.
an organization which truly cares and invests into the emotions of an individual would do
Correct.
because they want to, because the self motivation comes into picture.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so knowing what your employees want to feel, that will drive high performance and job satisfaction. They would
Hmm.
want to feel loved, cared, appreciated, challenged. They would want to feel challenged.
Yes.
Uh, they'd want to feel that they are growing, that they are learning, and that they are valued and feel significant.
Yes, correct. Yeah, and when that does not happen, Kalyani, I think it leads to a lot of toxic behavior, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it passes on from one person to another, Ethel.
Yes, it's like a disease. Tell me about
It's
it.
infectious. Yeah.
Yes.
Deadly
Yes.
than the virus.
Yeah. 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 You tell me about it.
Absolutely.
At some point of time, we've all seen that, when you wonder,
Yeah.
hey, what is the problem? What is this person's problem? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was really cool to understand that, because I like the self-regulation bit of it, because I think that is so important to keep checking yourself, how you respond and how you react. Yeah, correct.
Yep.
which
Yeah.
which brings me to my next question. What are the tools, Kalyani, that every man and woman can use to create healthy, sustainable, authentic relationships? I think between you and me, we've seen so much of the world already. We've
Yeah.
been there, done that, all that, right? And at every point in our life, we've met real people, and we've met the superficial people, the superficial kind. And
Mm-hmm.
all of us, are constantly striving to meet, as I said, right, the authentic ones. What
Mm-hmm.
what are the tools that you can suggest to create healthy, sustainable, authentic relationships?
What a thoughtful question, Ethel. Really. What a thoughtful question.
Thank you.
Amazing show you have put up together. I think people really need to talk about this. What a thoughtful
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the answer lies in the word authentic itself. When we
Hmm.
say authentic relationships, authentic means pure, which
Yes.
means allowing people to be themselves
Hmm.
is one of the biggest tools in creating authentic and sustainable relationships. Okay? Authentic and
Yes.
sustainable. If I am not allowed to be authentic in a relationship, if I'm not allowed to be myself in a relationship, tell me how long is going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
It's
Correct.
not going to last, right?
Yes.
Because we
Right.
will feel suffocated. I will feel, that I don't have personal freedom.
Hmm.
And I think one of the very key tools for building authentic and sustainable relationships, whether it's
Yes.
at work or it's in your personal life with your family, is really allowing people to be themselves. You know,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree with that.
accepting accepting the commonalities,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Celebrating them, and also respecting the differences.
Differences. Yes.
Right? Also respecting the differences, I think, is a wonderful way.
Hmm.
We don't realize we always try to change each other. Parents
Yeah.
try to change their children.
Correct.
Organizations try to change employees, obviously as per the organization culture, which I will totally understand is the need.
Hmm.
However, how we can do it in a way where it becomes more self-motivating, where
Right.
it
Yes.
becomes where the other person is more accepting towards the change rather than something being forced. So number
Correct.
one tool for creating authentic and sustainable relationship is allowing the other person to be themselves.
Hmm. Hmm.
number two Number two is bringing in a lot of respect into the
Okay.
relationship, a lot of
Okay.
respect and empathy into the relationship. Ethel, our basic needs being, in Hindi we say roti, kapda, makan, and
Yes.
Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi being
Yes.
the new digital need.
Yes.
So for
You
people who
can't, you
don't
can't do without Wi-Fi anymore now. I
He
mean,
is food, clothing, shelter, and Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi.
uh, are one of the basic psychological needs, being
Hmm.
love and appreciation.
Hmm.
wanting
Yes.
to be felt significant and that I'm contributing in the relationship,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Experiencing the sense of meaning and purpose in a relationship. And I think it's so important to have this kind of exchange between two people,
Hmm.
letting the
Yes.
other person know that they are valued, they are appreciated, and
Yes.
that there is a meaning to the relationship. And
Yes.
number three, allowing growth, allowing growth and not being stuck into relationships,
Hmm. Hmm.
allowing growth, because I think that's being the best version of yourself, right? Human
Yes. Yes.
evolution. We're
Yeah.
always evolving, allowing
Correct.
growth. And the number four tool is taking breaks from each other. This
Yeah.
is something I boldly talk about, especially in India, and I know that in Southeast Asia also, we are a lot people oriented people. Relationships matter a lot to us.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
if that it is, and if that is that way, I think we should give each other some space, allow
Yes.
each other some me time. Coming back
Correct.
to the first tool that I shared of allowing each other to be ourselves, then how
Hmm.
do I discover myself is by taking that space, allowing
Yes.
people, whether it's couple relationships, parent, children, or employee, giving themselves a little bit of space by their own self, where
Hmm. Hmm.
they have this me time and they have
Correct.
time to rejuvenate so that they
Yes.
can give the best in the relationship. See, you can't give to others what you don't have within yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
you
Absolutely.
know
Yes. Yeah.
if I have anger within me, that's what's going to come out in the relationship. If I'm filled with guilt, that's going to come out in the relationship. However, if I'm allowed to be myself, I'm valued, I feel significant, I'm respected, and I get that me time every time to discover and connect with my own self, I think I
Hmm.
would have a lot of love to give in a relationship. I'd have a lot of gratitude to give in a relationship. And I think these basic psychological needs, basic psychological needs like love, appreciation, significance, growth,
Hmm.
is the secret to sustainable and authentic relationships. And
Definitely.
that's what healthy, healthy. All three
Absolutely.
beautiful words you've used.
I love the way you explained it because I think uh, we are not taught that, Kalyani, in a very young age, right? I think
Yeah.
it's only when you kind of reach a certain time period in your life that suddenly,
There's so much
what I'm
social
saying?
conditioning. Yeah, so much
Yeah,
social
yeah.
conditioning. And
So
so
we
much
need
of it we see around us, which we think is right. Just because
yes,
there's so much of it happening around us. And then looking at relationships from this point of view can be a little pushing yourself out of the comfort zone. But I'd really like to thank you for this beautiful question because it got me into so much of insight. Healthy,
oh, yes,
sustainable, and authentic. That's
yeah,
brilliant.
because it really matters to me, as I said, I
It's so
wish,
important.
I wish I knew then what I know now, so
Ah,
you know what I'm saying? Our
yes,
twenties,
yes.
thirties,
I
kind of
do.
get lost in all the outside noise because
Mhm.
we are not truly empowered, right? Because of the maybe lack of information or lack of I don't know what it is. Uh,
Mhm.
but as you said, what you're telling me now, if I knew it when I was 20 years old, I probably would make few judgment errors in that sense, right? And
But you've
but
done a wonderful, wonderful job by putting up this show and this question because some other 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds might get that
yes,
aha moment, the insight that
yes,
this is
yes, yes,
how it
yes.
has to be.
And I think that is the purpose, because youngsters today are much more luckier than we were. We have
Yes.
so much of information, and so many tools and to kind of to reach out to kind of make their lives, much more better than ours was as 20 years old. but thank you, Kalyani. I think that was really so well answered, and
Thank
and
you.
so genuinely answered. I love that.
Thank you. Thank
I
you
really
very
love
much.
that.
I'm
Which
privileged. I'm privileged. Thank you.
yeah, which kind of which brings me to my next question. What we were saying about youngsters and kids and stuff like that. Can we begin teaching children at school level on personal development, and why is it so important to build well-rounded individuals? No,
Absolutely. I
start early,
think,
right?
yes, yes. So, 10 years ago, when I was introduced to emotional intelligence, I did this certification from a very premier institute on emotional intelligence, and I started using it as one of the key tools in coaching, in leadership development.
Okay.
And I was, why isn't this taught to children?
Yeah.
Why, why isn't this a subject in school?
Hmm.
And I think it's so important because children nowadays, There's so much expectation, and like you said, this we're also surrounded with a lot of information, Ethel, and that
Yes.
can actually sometimes work like a double-edged sword, where the
Yep.
information can be, knowledgeable. At the same time, the information can also be very overwhelming. So
Yes.
children are
I
exposed to
agree.
so much.
I
Look at
completely agree.
us when we were in school, right? And the
Yes.
kids here today, they are doing so much more. There's so much more expectation, so much more competition, and I
Correct.
think that's the right time where they should learn emotional intelligence, where they learn how to understand emotions,
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I completely
understand
agree.
themselves, understand to manage their emotions. Okay. So there's
Yes.
nothing like a good or bad emotion. Kids feel so guilty about feeling a certain way.
Hmm.
There's nothing
Hmm.
good or bad about feeling angry, guilt, or being afraid. It's just
Correct.
an emotion, and it
Yes.
can be channelized, it can be worked upon. And I think that's what makes us human, experiencing these variety of emotions. And
Yeah.
learning to self regulate yourself, building empathy with each other, and developing your people skills. You know,
Correct. Yeah.
unfortunately, schools only focus on IQ.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. And that's
they
that's
don't
that is
focus
my
on EQ. Yeah.
that is
So
my
I have known students with the best IQ, highest IQ, not doing so well in exams because of poor EQ, because they
right.
were not able to handle their emotions.
Hmm.
I know
Hmm.
so many youngsters who are not able to speak up confidently in interviews and group discussions because of
Right.
poor EQ. They don't know, self confidence is lacking. They don't know how to
Hmm.
handle their emotions. The
Hmm.
knowledge is very good, the bookish knowledge is phenomenal. But what
Right.
about learning how to manage your emotions? So there's a
Correct.
wonderful research about emotional intelligence that says that your IQ gets your first job, but how you climb the corporate ladder or how you climb your career ladder is so much about
Hmm.
how you manage your own emotions, how you
Yeah.
deal with failure, and how
Yes.
you deal with people, how your interpersonal skills are. And that's where
Correct.
the importance of well-rounded individuals comes into picture. you know
Yes. I know. I
Knowledge
completely agree
of
with
the
that.
books,
Completely agree.
the application, managing your emotions, learning how to deal with people, how to deal with conflicts, problem solving, networking.
Hmm.
Networking is such an important part. I
Yeah.
think all of these skills are so important than just the bookish knowledge of history or geography or biology that we learn in schools, and that's why it's so important to create well-rounded individuals.
Yes.
In fact, subjects like psychology, financial management, basics of taxes, I think, even, body image, learning
Hmm.
to know your body, being comfortable with your body,
Yes.
should be taught in schools, because then here we are where we have created these 20, 21-year-olds with 98% of marks in their 12th and
Correct.
10th and MBAs and all. But what next? They're
Yes.
not confident.
Correct.
They have a variety of fears and
Insecurities. Yeah. Insecurities as well.
insecurities. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. In fact, sometimes, Kalyani, when I look at the existing educational structures, right, I think they're quite failures by themselves, because like you rightly mentioned, everything is so book driven and so bookish that I feel sometimes they lose the entire big picture in how to turn out well-rounded individuals because
Absolutely.
while I understand that being competitive is part of it's part of your personality, kind of,
Mhm.
or teaches you, how to kind of, when you get out into the world, how would you survive and stuff like that. While I get that, I understand that because I used to be fiercely competitive myself. I think I just mellowed down now. um, the other side of personality development is so sorely lacking at the school levels, and I think that's why. And please correct me if I'm wrong. When kids were forced to move from the classroom onto online, you saw a whole different pattern emerging there, right? Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, they were so disengaged.
yeah,
They were so disengaged. Uh, and
absolutely.
they just couldn't cope up with it. Parents couldn't cope up with it. It was a major area of stress. Parents are working from home, children are studying online,
Correct.
and it was really a whole lot of turmoil to deal with, because you know, they're so visually focused that
Hmm.
on the online, where their auditory skills are more challenged, and they
Correct.
really have to concentrate, they weren't able to concentrate.
Yes. Yeah.
They weren't
That's
able
right.
to listen
Correct. Yeah.
and apply.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that because a friend of mine here in Malaysia, you know, I would watch her daughter. She would be like all over the place except where
Yes.
she's supposed to be. She just couldn't, kind of wrap her head around the fact that what am I doing here in front of the laptop, right?
Also, the
Uh,
toys we've given to our children, Ethel.
hmm, hmm,
Do
hmm.
you remember what were our toys? They were trees, they were butterflies, would run around all over the place.
Yes,
You had
yes,
this little bat, ball, all of these, and the toys that we've given our children, my son, are mobile phones, laptops, iPads,
yes,
and, the PlayStation, and those are the kind of toys that we've given them that's drastically reduced their attention span, and
correct.
made them very, very hyperactive. It's
Hmm.
the generation which wants instant gratification.
Yes,
Blame it,
absolutely.
blame it on our upbringing, and of course, the external environment. And that's the reason they found it so difficult to deal with the online way of learning.
Hmm. Yeah, correct. You're
Extremely
right.
disengaged.
You're
Extremely
absolutely
disengaged.
right. Yeah, I completely agree. I think this 2 years was a complete eye opener. I was very glad I had no kids in school. So, like, I'm so done with that now. But I could see other parents struggling, like literally
Yeah.
struggling, like tearing their hair, struggling, to figure out how do they cope up and manage this. Yeah, you're right. And it's good to see that Faisal Raju from Bangladesh is online with us. He says hi. Faisal, hi. Glad to see you online. Stay online. There's lots more happening here with Kalyani Kamble. And we have Dr. Hugh, who has just come on backstage. And I'm going to, bring him into our chat room, Kalyani. He's an
Yes,
absolute gentleman. I would love to introduce you to him. So hold
definitely.
on. Yes, let
Yes.
me just get him online. Dr. Hugh,
Hi. Hi,
good
Ethel. Good
evening.
evening. Good evening,
Hi.
Ethel and Kalyani. Good
Hi.
evening.
Good evening, Dr. Hugh.
Hi. Good to see you, Dr. Hugh. Meet Kalyani Kamble. A
Good
Hi.
evening.
very, very
Pleased to meet you.
intelligent, accomplished woman in Mumbai.
Mm-hmm.
She's also the author of 31 Days to the Best Version of You, which was a bestseller on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And Kalyani has been, at the forefront of a lot of, how do I call it, life coaching, personal development. She's like very well known in Bombay, in Mumbai. So when you physically get to Mumbai, Dr. Hugh, we could all have like a
Of
set
course.
soiree
Yeah,
in
we
Mumbai.
start traveling
Be
again.
my guest. Be my guest, Ethel and Dr. Hugh. Happy to meet you.
Happy to meet you too.
Great. So Dr. Hugh,
Mm.
I'm sure you've been listening to the conversation that me and Kalyani have had. Basically, today we're discussing about why emotional intelligence is such a crucial, critical, value system to have today in building leadership, because we see the dynamics that have changed post the pandemic. I think the focus has now come to it finally, after I think after IQ being hailed as the be all and everything else, and that is where today we also kind of get to discuss about how it all begins with self love. And you and me have had some conversations around the concept of self love. So, from you, Dr. Hugh, I would like to hear three tools towards creating self-love supports being an effective leader at work and personal space. In your space, I've seen you be doing great. I'm sure there's a mantra to it. Can you share three tools? Yeah. Can you share
Yeah,
three
I
tools?
suppose every person, every leader of organization, every business person that probably has got some things, some ingredients that make them what they are,
Hmm.
and being a success, and and being effective as a leader in an organization. And I think I wouldn't really say they're tools, but I think there are
Yes.
three ingredients or three aspects which I always look at, which I think
Hmm.
has helped me tremendously throughout the years. And
Okay.
it's something that when I first started out, maybe I wasn't doing so much of. I
Hmm.
neglected it, just like during your conversation you mentioned, about focusing on just doing, and on all the academic parts, and just
Yes.
putting things together, and just instead of also looking at yourself as and developing yourself and maintaining that mental kind of balance in life,
Hmm.
and physical as well. So I think the one of the first ingredients I would say is actually to always look out for your physical. Always be aware that you have physical kind of needs, and your body needs to be fed, needs to be nurtured, needs to be built and strengthened in order
Hmm.
for you to be effective. And that can come in many forms, but definitely you have to move, you have to exercise, you have to look at what you eat. So all these things, right, is you need to look at yourself physically, and you not neglect it in the
Hmm.
pursuit of success. Because if you
Yes.
if you, if you do that and then do that, then later on you will find out, as I did actually, when the body starts giving problems, the
Correct.
body responds, right,
Yes.
to stress when you don't even realize it. You think you're doing well, you think you're coping well, but when you do not
Yes.
feed it, you do not care for it, or put
Yes.
some attention to it, then you start having problems.
Yes.
And
I.
paying
Yeah.
attention to it can be as simple as maybe having some time, making time out to go to the gym and going for a run or doing some physical exercise. And for me, it's cycling. I took up cycling, and
Mm.
before that, I had other shorter exercise routines. But I found that it wasn't actually really enough, and things really just became quite bad for my health as I
Mm.
went along. And I'm
Mm.
so glad I found. For me, you can say probably one of the tools is cycling. So that's the physical part ingredient of it.
Correct.
The other
Right.
one is actually always finding something to do outside of work. And I
Mm.
think this sort of echoes what Kalyani is saying. You have
Yes.
to balance things like that.
Yes.
Outside of work, find an interest where you can develop and also grow it, and totally separate from what you're doing at work. For
Yes.
me, I found it in like gardening.
Yeah.
This again happened, miraculously during the time of the pandemic, when
And
when I just sat.
Kalyani, I must mention this to Kalyani. Dr. Hugh has an awesome garden. He has like butterflies and bees and everybody
I
all
can
around.
imagine the whole of Malaysia is so beautiful. I can imagine.
Very green.
Yes. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
things grow well in Malaysia, I suppose, being a tropical rainforest,
Absolutely.
one of the oldest. Things just grow. Of course, if you do have to take care. And yeah, I discovered one thing, like gardening. But I think everyone is different, so
Mm.
you need to find something that you do outside of work and really pay attention and grow it. And in the past people talk about hobbies, but I think
Yes.
you can go even beyond that. You could develop a great interest and develop that side of
Mm.
you, a
Mm.
branch of knowledge that is totally different, separate from work, and which makes you an interesting person as well. So
Correct.
that
Yes.
that is a kind of a self care. You're actually looking after yourself as well. And
Yes.
lastly, thirdly, lastly but not least, is making sure that relationships around you are healthy. Yeah,
Yes.
because you can be a very good leader, successful. You're very strong, but if if you think that you can do it all alone, yeah, I think
Mm.
you're in for some kind of trouble
Yeah.
eventually. Because
Yeah.
no person is an island, no man, no
Right.
woman is an island, and eventually you're going to find that if you're lacking cultivation of relationships of people around you, everything
Correct.
will just fall apart at some stage. Yeah, so
Yes.
those are the three things I look at.
Yes. I'm sure Kalyani agrees to that.
Yes,
Yeah.
completely, completely.
Yeah. Makes
I
sense. Yeah.
especially like the last point that we can't do everything and that we should take help, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Support
and that
system.
comes in relationships, right? You can
absolutely.
ask for help. You can't think that, or be so proud as to think that you
Mm.
you can do all everything alone. Yeah,
Yeah.
so teamwork is important, and for that you need to build relationships.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that because for my past experience too, I remember, one of my very senior bosses telling me that when I was station director with Radio Mirchi, saying Ethel, an effective leader, because I had a team of 10 people, that I was working with. An effective leader delegates and asks for
Yes.
support, because you saw me doing everything on my own. He said that is not your job. You're
Yeah.
supposed to get the team to kind of to do work with you unto the results that you want to create. And it kind of got me thinking. I said, but I've always worked like this. I said, no, I want you to delegate, because you set the goal, the target, that the team all get. And I thought it changed my life, Dr. Hugh,
Yeah.
really, because
Yeah, I
I
think
felt
there's another quote that I think we probably all come across. Maybe
yeah,
it's on internet or TikTok or something. But it says that if you want to go fast, you go alone, right? if you want to go
Yeah,
far, you go
Right.
together.
Together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Lovely. Lovely.
I love that. I
Sound
love
of
in a
that.
criteria.
nutshell.
It's
I
beautiful.
love that. Like I was
Yeah.
telling Kalyani, all this wisdom, Dr. Hugh, is coming to us now. I wish we had this wisdom in our 20s, 30s, right? Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
better late than never.
Yeah.
So, yeah, better late than never. So, which brings me to my next question, Dr. Hugh. I would like to know your take on women leadership in Malaysia. I think
I think in
I think
Malaysia, it's pretty healthy. I think because we have women ministers, we have women in positions of power, we have women in business, women, start up their own businesses, with the support, of families and spouses, and I don't think anything is really holding women back much in Malaysia. We have
mm,
a lot of, and I see even from the education front, women, girls, getting good opportunities to excel, whether it's in sports or in academics, and they're good places. We hear of people getting places in all the big schools internationally, Ivy League, Harvard, Cambridge, and quite a good healthy proportion are women. So I
mm,
think in Malaysia it's pretty healthy. I don't think anything is really holding, or any stigma to having successful women in positions, in higher positions or positions of power in
yes.
Malaysia, and I'm quite happy with that. In fact, in my own in my clinic, right, the rest of my staff are all women except for one male doctor.
Yes, yes,
And
I know that.
I mean, not just me. There's another male doctor,
Yes, that is
and
true. Yeah,
from management to administration to the work, to all the people serving, the front line. They're
correct.
all women, and they hold great responsibility in that sense. So
Yeah,
I'm happy, that Malaysia is like that at the moment.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Because even in the F&B industry that I'm so part of, I see a lot of women entrepreneurs out there, Kalyani. They've all started businesses on their own, especially when the
That's
pandemic.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So you look at them as being very progressive. At the same time, managing, family and children and older folks at home too. So it's quite, it's quite a balance that I see, and that's why it's such an eye opener for me as well. So yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah, you
Good
was
to know.
correct. Yeah, that's correct. Which brings me to our favorite topic, Dr. Hugh, because
Mhm.
uh, where would we where would we be without our beauty routines and skincare routines and stuff like that, right? Which we are so heavily invested into. I want yeah, yeah, I want to know your opinion, on like we keep talking, right? There's so many different. I heavily read about what's happening in terms of cosmetic and aesthetic and all the different trends that are also popping up in 2022, especially. What is your take on laser versus micro needling? That and I know that there are two different kind of streams, of skin treatment, and which is your preferred treatment for lasting effects, laser versus micro needling?
Okay, that's kind of a specific question on the
It is.
two quite specific kind of treatments. Actually, but in terms of lasers, it's actually very broad because lasers can do so many things, and there's so many different types and families of lasers that treat various conditions and various
Correct.
layers of the skin. Whereas microneedling is just something that it's actually physical. So microneedling involves using tiny little needle instruments, right? So whether it's a roller, or maybe it's in a little sort of stamping, or people use this little machines that drive an
Mm,
electric motor that gives going up and down, and does a
mm,
pricking of the skin. So microneedling has been around for ages, and it's actually using a very simple concept that injury creates a healing process that stimulates collagen and improves the skin. And
yes.
to a certain extent, lasers have been used like that as well. So if you ask me between the two, definitely lasers are very high tech. It
Mm,
involves technology and laser science that people don't really fully understand even now in this day and age, and it's still being studied.
correct.
And there's so many things that we target. For example, with lasers, we can target certain things within the skin as an organ. So we're looking
Mm,
at pigmentation, we're looking at blood vessels, we're looking at water in the skin, where when we actually do lasers that destroy or blades, when we want to break down certain things like a tumor or a mole or a bump, we use that kind of a technique. So lasers are very versatile. So between the two, I would say that it's hard to compare like that. Uh, but if you ask me whether they work, they both work very well.
Yeah,
Microneedling,
it's my trick question to you. But
yeah,
yeah,
you
correct.
can see I'm jumping back and forth, so it's really tricky for me to answer your question. Yeah, but microneedling, let me point out that microneedling came about maybe some years back, maybe about 5-10 years back, and became very popular. Even though it's been around for a long time, just like peels and all that. But
Yes.
microneedling came about because it was popularized as a result of some doctors doing mesotherapy, slight injections near the skin surface, and they found it to be effective. And then they carried the idea a little bit, and then they created these tools
Right.
for microneedling. But the advantage of microneedling is that every time you do microneedling and you prick at the skin, you are actually just mildly, in a controlled manner,
Okay.
damaging it. And when you do that, right, you actually create some channels for us. So let's say we want to infuse something good into the skin to provide nutrition. It
Right.
could be a vitamin or a cocktail, or some ingredients which are good for the skin. It could be
Correct.
growth factors. It could be things that will not go through intact skin. So I think that is one of the things that we look at when we're doing microneedling. So people combine it with PRP. They combine it platelet-rich plasma, or they
Yes.
combine it with the growth factor serums, and you can get a much better result. Yeah.
Okay. Kalyani, when you come to Malaysia, you are coming to Malaysia soon.
Yes,
I'm going to take you to the Mac clinic. What Dr. Hugh does
definitely. I
is
am very excited after listening to
Yeah.
Dr.
yeah.
Yeah. Let me show you around. There's lots of things if you have not
Uh,
encountered it before.
it's like a Pandora's box actually.
Yes.
I think half of my information that happened in the world of beauty happened in Malaysia. It was oof. It is way out there, just way out there. Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely. And I think it's a topic of every woman's interest. I mean, the moment you asked that question to Dr. Hugh, I was like all ears and eyes up,
yeah, yeah. You understand
all
that.
attention.
Yeah, I
We
think
hope,
women understand this this language
yeah,
a lot better than
we
times.
hope to get Dr. Hugh to India. Fingers crossed.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, yeah. All right. On that note, Dr. Hugh, thank you so much for joining us,
Right. Thank you, Ethel.
and sharing all your own ingredients into leadership. I really like it because I know you now for almost 2.5 years, and I see that all in practice. What you do. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
It's really wonderful.
likewise, Ethel. I see you as a very balanced, very very strong person.
Thank you. Terima kasih.
Yes.
That is good to know. Good to know. Dr. Hugh, thank you. I'm going to see you soon.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yes. Thank you for
Bye,
joining
Bye,
us.
Kalani.
Dr. Hugh. Bye, bye. Nice meeting you.
Right.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I absolutely love Dr. Hugh. He's,
Yes.
besides being such a fantastic professional, he's genuinely such a good human being.
Yeah,
Uh,
I could sense that. I could
yeah,
sense that. Very down to earth.
very down to earth. So, and a very good friend to me, and I love that because uh, when people come from the very true, authentic space, everything about you also kind of magnifies in a very authentic manner too. And I'm very very lucky to kind of say that and share that I have some really good friends in Malaysia, like all heart, completely
Yes.
heart. Yeah, and Dr. Hugh is one of them. Some of them you can
Wow.
just meet and you just click and that's it. You take it forward from there.
Lovely. Lovely.
Yeah, yeah. So awesome. I'm glad you met Dr. Hugh and got to know a little bit of him.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you.
yeah, and as I said, I'm kind of dying to bring him to India as well. It'll happen. It'll
Yes.
definitely happen. Which brings me back, to our question, right? Um, I'm always confronted with this, whether it's in interviews, when journalists speak to me, or or at public functions where I'm speaking, I am always asked, oh, how do you balance your work life and your family life? And I turn back and I tell them, but you never ask men this question, right? Why is
Yes.
it
Yes.
always women who get asked this, right? As like, I want to know, your take on that. Don't you think it is time to change this narrative? And how can we change this narrative, Kalyani?
Absolutely. All right. So Ethel, have you, uh, you know, it's women who generally ask this question.
Mm.
Have you noticed that?
Yes, I've noticed it.
Yeah, I have never come across any man asking me this question. I've only had women asking me this question. Okay, Kalyani, you're traveling so much. All the time we see you're doing this training, that program. And, how do you manage your family and work?
Yeah,
Now, that's exactly where the narrative needs to change. It
yeah,
has to change in the mindsets of women themselves,
right.
because it's women, it's us who expect a lot from us. We
Yeah.
need to bring about a paradigm shift right over there. Every
Mm.
woman wants to be a superwoman. Why?
Yes, yeah.
Why?
Right. Yeah,
You know,
I
uh,
completely agree. Or
you
the new term today is the helicopter mom, right?
yeah, the helicopter mom. Yeah, just being like a helicopter. Why?
Yeah.
Why? You know, uh, I think we are humans and we are allowed to be imperfect. It's okay sometimes to forget certain things. It's okay sometimes, if you are not there for your children. I think it's an opportunity for them to discover themselves and become more independent. I
Right.
always tell women, whatever conversation you have with your children or whatever you're doing out of love for your children, whether it's serving them food or being around with them all the time, just ask yourself a question: am I taking them towards dependence or independence?
Mm. True.
Is this action taking my children towards dependence and independence?
Correct.
It's never towards independence. Somehow it's just not ingrained amongst us, because there's this very stereotypical image of women that's been created, especially in India. And I think mostly I've seen this all over the world, even in the most advanced country, that a woman is supposed to be the superwoman. She
Yes.
is someone
Yes.
with these superpowers, where she
Yes.
can be at work, she can handle a home, look after children, and bring home the money, look after the
Mm.
home, look after the in-laws here. I mean, it just does not end at children. Here
Yeah.
it's the in-laws, it's the relatives as well, and there's so much expectations. We're
Correct.
playing so many roles. I think the narrative should change from women in itself, that why do you want to be a super woman?
Yes. Yeah.
Just be yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay
Yes.
not to be perfect. And I
Correct.
think that's how we learn and grow. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's where the main paradigm shift should come, because we women expect a lot from our own self.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
We
I
want to be
completely
the
agree.
best
Yeah.
in every role we play. The
Right.
best mom. You want to be the best boss, the best employee, the best wife, the best daughter-in-law. Why?
Correct.
I have never come. I mean, I'm sorry, I may sound very feminist, but I'm going
Mm.
to take the liberty to say this. I have never come across any man who says, I want to be the best son-in-law, or,
Yes.
I want to be the best father. I'm
Yes.
like, why are we women so obsessed about all of this?
Yeah.
Just be yourself. And I think that itself has you be the best in the role that you play. The moment you allow yourself to make mistakes, the moment you allow yourself not to be so perfect.
Correct. Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
No, I completely agree on that. And also, I don't know, like you mentioned, I don't know if if it's an India thing, or you see this in Southeast Asia, or maybe any woman on any part of the world kind of can also identify with that. Somehow wanting to make something more of your life, especially if you're a mom, and you invest yourself in that direction.
Yeah.
It's always like some sort of how do you call it, reflects on your style of motherhood. I don't know,
Yeah.
Kalyani, if this is really whether it's just me being sensitive and seeing that. So the more a woman wants to invest in herself, correct,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm.
somehow some sort of a way of kind of a negative kind of a negative mark on her.
Mm.
Look at me, oh my god, she's so into herself that her
Yeah.
children suffer. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, yes. I totally relate to that, Ethel. I'm sure a lot of women relate to that as well. And that's where I said the challenge is that it's most women who talk these things
Yes.
about other women. I think that's where it should change. That's exactly where it should change. And I think we should start accepting women who are independent,
Yes.
who probably just want to have their children be independent, who is focused on her self growth. Because,
Correct.
like I said, you can't give to others what you don't have in you, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
I feel taking time out for your own self is something good that you do for your children and your family, because then if I am able to rejuvenate, I think it's only then I'll be able to be the best mom.
Yes, correct. But I must also share here. I have a very favorite television show that I watch. It's called Madam Secretary. I don't know if you watched that. Where it's beautiful. The dynamics between her and her husband, who are absolute equals,
Mm-hmm.
and being raising two children. Two like two grown ups on their on their own, and how the dynamics between the two of them as a unit is so strong because of course she's very focused into driving a very political career for herself,
Mm-hmm.
and the husband being a professor, just the storyline. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to parenting, I find them like like if I ever get married again, I would want that kind of a dynamic to happen, like on equal
Mm-hmm.
footing. And
Absolutely,
you
absolutely. Yeah, I
rarely
totally
see
agree.
that, on complete equal footing as to equals in a dynamic of a relationship that is absolutely equal, even to give to each other, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship, and also contribute equally to parenting style. I don't see that much in India too,
Yes,
It's
I
always
totally agree. I
yeah, it's
totally
always
agree. Yeah.
so conditioned. Because you're expected to do one, two, three, and he's expected to do ABC, right? And somehow
Mm-hmm.
the one, two, three, and ABC don't combine and come together.
I
Very,
agree.
very rarely does it happen.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that. You're right. Women have to change the narrative themselves, which
Yes.
which is which kind of brings us very close to the 60-minute mark. And I this particular question, I think so, completely should act as a self-supportive system to
Absolutely.
to my listeners and who are here with us. uh,
Mm-hmm.
Kalyani, three quick tools to create and maintain optimal productivity throughout your day.
Mm-hmm.
You've been as a life coach, you see issues and problems as it is, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you support the people who seek out your help as well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
wh- Give us three quick tools to create this optimal, productivity, whether it's a man or a woman.
Number one, it's called as the Pareto's principle. It is the 80-20 rule. It is called as the 80/20 rule.
Okay.
So the Pareto's principle says that 80% of your outcomes are driven by 20% of your efforts. I repeat, 80% of your outcomes are driven by 20% of your efforts. And
Okay.
there's this huge study conducted all over the world that 20% of your clients are responsible for 80% of your business. The top 20% of your investors own 80% of your company's assets.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
most focused 20% of your effort goes towards doing 80% of your work. So this is an amazing eye-opening principle. It's so interesting also. The Pareto's principle literally applies everywhere. You
Hmm.
use 20% of your wardrobe 80% of the time.
Right.
We only use 20% of our wardrobe 80% of the time.
True.
So how
True.
to apply this to productivity? Number one, I think take some time to identify what is that most 20% of my work that is getting me the 80% of result.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
difference being
Hmm.
between being busy and productive.
Right.
Productivity is you focus on the 20%, do it at a time of the day where you feel most productive. It's
Hmm.
usually the first half of the day for most people. Usually, for
Right.
most people, get your 20% of work done, because that gets you the 80% of effort. The
Hmm.
moment you fill up your plate with everything and you are doing this 80% of thing and only getting 20% of result, you are
Yes.
only busy. I think the first thing itself is knowing the difference between being busy and being productive. So number one
Yes.
tool is identify what are those activities that get you your 80% outcomes,
Hmm.
80%, and put your effort there. I'm not saying neglect the other 80%, but I think your first half of the day, the moment you do this, you really become very productive. You feel sort of free for the day.
Yeah.
Number two productivity tool is taking breaks Ethel.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. I've learned
and
that.
and not being on the roll, on being like a robot, one thing after
Hmm.
the other, one thing after the other, multitasking. Take a
Yes.
break, at least 3 to 5 minutes of break.
Hmm.
3 to 5 minutes of break, if possible, every 2 hours. If you can
Hmm.
allow, I
Hmm.
repeat, if you can allow yourself a break of 3 to 5 minutes every 2 hours, this is a mindfulness break. In
Hmm.
this break, what you do is you listen to some lovely music, some music that peps you up. It could be a meditation music, a flute, whatever kind of music you enjoy. You could
Yes.
and get into a visualization which transports you to a place of nature or to the place that you enjoy. Now, this
Hmm.
is your moment where you completely disconnect from your
Yeah.
current reality and you transport yourself in your mind into
Correct.
a place that you enjoy. While you are doing this, you also take some deep breaths, because
Hmm.
here's the thing, why we feel tired is because 90% of us are not breathing optimally. So we need
Yeah.
to
You're
breathe
right.
optimally.
You're right.
Okay. So
Absolutely
this
right.
is your mindfulness break where you bring your attention back to your breath. You take in some deep breaths, you listen to some nice music, you transport yourself to a visualization. This is complete disconnect. And
Hmm.
trust me, that's the secret to productivity. The more breaks you take, the more you
Yes.
disconnect, the more easily you are able to connect, the more you can bounce back and be very, very productive. So that's my second tool. And my third tool is having plenty of water throughout the day. We think we are having plenty of water, but we are not really.
Yes.
Have
Absolutely.
plenty of water throughout the day, because many are times, our emotions, being an emotional intelligence coach, comes into picture. We feel bored, we feel lazy, our productivity dips, and that's the time
Hmm.
we'll have some tea, coffee, or something that is sweet.
Hmm.
And that just makes us feel good for a while, but your productivity will further dip because your glucose level will drop down again in the further part of the day. So be
Yes.
hydrated, have lemons, have fruit smoothies. My favorite is coffee. I love coffee, and I like to have it with oat milk and some dates. So no,
Hmm.
natural sugar here, not the white sugar. And
Yes.
trust me, it is such an elixir. I have it around 11:30 in the morning,
Okay.
and keeps me very productive throughout the day. So those are the
Yeah.
three tools: 80-20 Pareto principle. Know what is important, do that
Yes.
first. Number
Yes.
two, take breaks. Allow yourself 3 to 5 minutes of break. I mean,
Hmm.
the world
Breathe.
will be the way it is. You'll be
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
productive. Nothing changes. I don't know why we're always on this hurry. Where do you want to run? What do you want to
Yeah.
do? Take a
Yeah.
break, breathe, visualize. And number three, be hydrated. Have
Hmm.
some, natural sugars that really peps up your body.
I love that. And that's so simple to do, Kalyani.
Very
It's not
easy.
rocket science at all. And I love
Not
the
at all.
fact that you said, being productive and being busy are two different spectrums.
Absolutely.
Um, I think so rightly said. So I'm a checklist fanatic. I make checklists till today, but what I've learned now that by the old way of doing to see 20 things listed down to do for a day no longer makes sense to me. I will put down maybe just 7 to 8 things I want to
Absolutely.
do, achieve for
Yes.
today,
Yes. The
in a very.
20% that gets you the 80% outcome.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's how I kind of suddenly said, oh, I have so many more hours now for self care to take care of
Absolutely.
myself. The
Yeah.
principle of breathing, because, somebody told me, I think, Ethel, breathe,
Yeah.
breathe, correct? Because, you're all the time trying to kind of catch your breath. He said, everything, the universe, functions effectively on its own, you know. But you only
Exactly.
add up chaos into your life because of your inability to let go of things, correct?
Hmm.
That
Right.
no longer serve you. And I thought it was so zen like, and Malaysia has taught me that, huh, by the
Absolutely.
way.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I,
That's
I
beautiful.
completely agree. Completely agree. I love that. I love the three tools. I hope all my listeners who are there and who will watch it later on as well. I can see Mimi is also online with us. Mimi from Labuan. Mimi, hi. I thought of you so much today. Glad to see you on my show. Please share it with your teammates as well, Faisal, you too, so that we kind of empower people who we also kind of know how to live the best years of their life, right, Kalyani?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe life is meant to enjoy, Ethel.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No
yeah,
rush. There's no rush.
yeah. There's no rush.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
one
fun.
day at a time. One day at a time.
Yes.
What will be. Correct. What goes
Absolutely.
goes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
What
I
is
think
meant for you is for you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. I think I love the fact that we just connected. I love the
Yes.
fact,
Thank you so
the
much.
heart to heart just happened. It's all about spontaneity in my space. And all my guests, just I feel it's the universe, which with its grand design, somehow it has made me a part of it, and I'm in absolute surrender to it. Where I am led, I know I will be watered. That's my principle. Wherever
Wow.
the universe leads me, I know I am watered. I am planted and I'm watered.
Lovely.
And yeah, and I think Malaysia has been such a eye opener for me in that sense too.
Mm-hmm.
Kalyani, thank you so much. Thank you for making the time. Thank you to saying yes to heart, and being part of this entire conversation. Um, Beautiful insights that you've shared with us. Really empowering insights from Dr. Hugh as well today. Uh,
Yes.
and I think the combination has been very fantastic between what you shared, where he comes from, and I think we're all connected by love. That is it,
Yes.
in some form or the other. As long as your heart is open and an open space, people just connect, and that is the beauty of it. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ethel, for inviting me here. It was a lot of fun, beautiful, insightful questions. I am feeling privileged to contribute and very humbled, Ethel, to connect with audience world over and Malaysia. So lots of love to Malaysia. Lots of love to Dr. Hugh. And thank you so much, Ethel. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you, and Kalyani. Have a fantastic remaining of the day of Sunday.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and
Same to everyone watching this. Yeah.
we're going to stay in touch.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you all, everyone who's watching this. Lots of love, lots of healing light.
Thank you. See you soon, Kalyani. Bye. And that was Kalyani Kamble from Bombay, Mumbai, as we call it. Great insights that she shared. She does fantastically well in the kind of work that she does, and I'm so privileged to have met her, in Bombay, and established a lovely, holistic, wholesome connection with her. And I'm sure what Kalyani has shared will help you too. I really want you to kind of watch the show back again, pick up whatever insights that you can learn from this. Encourage yourself, empower yourself, because these are experts, who teach people, how to live a very holistic, wholesome, life, and they're all here on my show to help and support, in my leadership series, as I call it. So thank you once again for joining us, wherever that you are, whoever that you are, for making time to come onto my show and watch. Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa is an association with the Mac Clinic Malaysia. I'm so grateful to the Mac Clinic for joining hands with me on season 2, and we have long innings to kind of take the show across, and inshallah, do something really great and productive out of that too. Put it all out there in a very digital space, and let it empower whoever it has to, whoever it is meant to. So thank you for joining in. Thank you for being part of my heart to heart and sharing the love that comes from you, and all your messages in my DMs and things that way. I'm honored to be part of your journey. I'm honored and humbled with all the responses and love I received from you. Thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of the evening. Eat healthy. Clear up all the baggage and clutter from your life, and live beautifully. Thank you so much, and good night. I'm going to see you next Sunday.